and welcome to this edition of Healthy Habits. I'm your host, Amy Davis. Today our guest is Lori Steele. Lori is a private yoga instructor and the owner of Steele Yoga. Lori, hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me again.
It's always great to work with you. Today Lori is going to show us some yoga poses that actually help battle anxiety. And could you first start with maybe talking to us a little bit about the anxiety correlation in yoga and how yoga helps?
Yeah, of course. Well, obviously, since I'm a yoga teacher, it doesn't make me immune to stress and anxiety. I don't go around floating on lily lotus pads.
You don't?
No, I don't.
You did.
I know, it looks like I would, but no. Actually, I have a lot on my plate, and I've learned that just taking a conscious practice of learning how to slow down my breath and just letting things go and basically retraining my mind, I'm less prone to those anxious thoughts and anxious behaviors that comes along when you have anxiety. So basically the poses I'm gonna walk us through today will help to cover the type of anxiety where your mind is racing. It'll also help to cover that type of anxiety where you just feel like you don't want to do anything, that everything's calm and everything's great, but really you have a lot going on underneath the surface. And so it's just learning how to put all of these different things together so that you can just retrain your brain. The first pose we're gonna do is called just hop switching with lunges. And it seems kind of counterintuitive that you would do something that gets your heart rate up, but what this one actually does is help to get your mind to focus on something else that's exerting and displacing all of that pent up energy.
It sort of gets it out, yeah.
It helps to get it out and it helps you focus on something else.
Yeah.
And then you breathe, you're kind of forced to breathe.
Awesome,
So
let's get started.
We will come on to our hands and knees. You want to make sure that the wrists are right underneath the shoulders and that you're pushing into the hands so you're not sinking in the shoulders.
Right.
And we just take our legs back in a plank. Just going to bring the one foot in, and all we're going to do is switch back and forth.
That's all we're going to do.
Switch. And you just keep going.
This is my shirt.
Yep, you just keep going. I get it. Keep going. Hop it up. Go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Keep breathing. And you try to go a little faster. Yep. Keep breathing.
This is hard.
And you try to do that for as long as you can, and then you find you go ahead and sit down. You find that when you're done, you're like breathing, and you've gotten rid of some of that anxiousness. So that helps with that whole chitter chatter brain, and it kind of gets rid of some of that excess energy. The next one that we're gonna do is for whenever you feel like you're grounded and everything's calm, but you're actually having stuff bubble up underneath the surface, and your brain is actually just protecting you by having you feel calm when you're really not.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to calm the brain down and get a lot of blood kind of pooling into the head, which will kind of just help soften everything down. So go ahead and stand up, and you wanna stand with your feet wide apart. It's about 4 feet wide, so maybe just bringing your arms out. So you want to get your feet wide enough to where your heels are underneath the wrists. So keep going wider, 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 wider. Nice. All right, go ahead and bring your hands to your hips. And then for you at home, you can either place some blocks or a bunch of pillows, just something for your head to rest on as we fold forward. So I'm going to help her with these. So the first thing we'll do is just take the thumbs down by the hips, and you're going to just take the tailbone down, and you're just going to lift up through the chest. You're gonna stay here and breathe. So shoulders just drawing back. You're gonna inhale into the low belly, the ribs, and the chest. And you're gonna exhale. Again, chest softens, ribs and navel in, but keep this lifted up. So just lifting through the chest. Back bends are fantastic. So this is a slight back bend as you're breathing here to help open the chest, be able to get more air and oxygen into the lungs, which is when we're anxious, we're not getting enough air. All right, then you're just gonna hinge at the hips. So using your hands just to fold forward. Fold forward, forward, forward. And we just find enough, is that resting on the block?
Yep.
Great, so you're just gonna hang out here.
Kind of looks like a karate move.
Yeah, so you wanna make sure that your head is just resting on the block or on the pillow so that you're not hanging, but it's actually being supported. So then it's kind of calming, and you can let the hands come down if you'd like as well. Yep, you just wanna turn the palms facing this way. Just kind of hugging the elbows in a little bit and just softening down right there. So you'd stay here for about a minute. So what happens is the head is being supported and held, blood is kind of pooling in, and you're able to focus on the breath. So this helps to kind of just re-engage the mind, let go of everything, and helps you to kind of come center and help you to understand what you need to actually focus on instead of focusing on nothing or too many things. And then to come out of this, you want to bring the hands to the hips and keep your head down. Then you'll inhale, just come up halfway into a flat back. Take a full exhale. And then inhale, come all the way up to standing. So that's a great one. It works with multiple things. And another pose we'll do is called bridge pose. So just go ahead and come onto your back.
All right.
Yep, so just go and face this way. Yep. And you want your feet, soles of the feet on the floor, knees bent, and then you just bring the feet a little bit closer into the hips. Yep. You're just gonna bring the hands down by your side, and almost like a robot, you just wanna just let the fingertips come towards the ceiling, so the forearms, yeah. So you're gonna press into the forearms, or the upper arms, and so you puff the chest. And then on the inhale, you're gonna lift the hips up towards the sky. So you press up and lift. You take the hands behind your back, kind of clasp them together, and then roll the shoulders underneath each other. Nice, and then you keep pushing the feet to lift the hips up. Then you wanna spiral the inner thighs down, so they spiral down, so you're not clenching the booty. And keep pressing into your feet to take the chest towards the chin. So you're just trying to make a bridge between the feet and the shoulders. So you stay here for about 8 breaths if possible, and then you maybe do it about 3 times.
Feels good.
Yeah, so it's opening and expanding across the chest, so it's helping to get more air into the lungs, and it's also an energizing pose as well as a calming pose. And then another option for this as well, you can always just lift the hips up a little higher, place a block or a dictionary, I don't even know if those exist anymore, just right on the sacrum, and then you can just let the hips relax there, and then you can just work on shoulders opening.
This feels so good.
Yep, and then just breathing. So breathing with anxiety and in yoga is actually the most important part of it. So whether you're just sitting down, which is actually what we'll be doing next, breathing is the best part. So let's go ahead and lift it up, and then slowly roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. And to come off just crawling up or rolling up to your side.
I feel tired now.
Yeah. And the last pose that we're gonna be doing is basically something that you can do anywhere. And like I had mentioned before, breathing is such an integral part of a yoga practice. And it's also one of the most integral parts to help calm us down when we have anxiety just fueling our body. So basically just finding a nice quiet spot to sit. And you just want to lift up through the crown of the head, just let the shoulders draw back. So you always want to think of this chest opening up so it allows more air to fill up completely. And then as we breathe, you want to focus on, not breaths when you're having anxiety, going, okay, everything's fine. You want to calm the breath
Not going
down.
into labor, right?
Exactly. So we focus on intentional breathing. So we breathe into the low belly, so you try to fill the low belly up with as much air as you can. Then you try to fill the ribs with air, so the ribs expand. Then you try to fill the chest with air, and you just kind of hold it. And then you try to exhale the chest out first. Then the ribs compress, and then all the belly goes all the way into the spine, so air comes out of the navel. And
exhale through mouth or nose?
You want to exhale through the nose. So you inhale, low belly, ribs, chest through the nose, and exhaling through the nose, chest softens, rib, and belly. So it's just that same thing of low belly, almost like a wave, undulating ribs, chest fill, and then soften everything down. So that can be done in a car,
in your closet,
your
and the kids are driving you nuts.
Exactly. Just make sure there's not a lock on the outside so you don't get locked into the closet.
That would be very stressful. Laura, you have blown my mind with these poses. I think for me, anxiety is going to be a very different animal. So thank you so much for showing us these. And thanks so much for being here with us. It's always great to work with you.
I'm looking forward to coming back.
That's going to do it for this edition of Healthy Habits. We'll see you next time.
Namaste.